Hello, this is OJ Diesel, and today, guys, I will be doing a new rank list. So this time, I will be ranking cartoons. Well, the 7 longest cartoons in America. It's known fact that there are certain cartoons that went for a really long time and still air to this day that people are surprised about. Yeah, some people are still surprised that shows like Cyber Chase is still airing, or hell, like Arthur is still airing, or another surprise is that hell, American Dad is still currently going on, or Robot Chicken. There's a lot of cartoons that went on for a very long time, but I'm talking about these 7. These 7 include The Simpsons, South Park, Arthur, Family Guy, SpongeBob SquarePants, Aqua Teen, and The Fairly Odd Parents. And I'll be ranking them as the 7 longest cartoons in America. So I will be describing each of its seasons and how I'm going to be ranking it. So we have the early age. The early age is when a show is in its baby steps and hasn't found its footing. Then we have the golden age, the era of when a show is at its prime. Then we got the silver age. It's the era when a show starts to show signs of declining quality. Then we have the Bronze Age, the era of when a show is starting to go downhill. Then we got the Dark Age, the era of when a show is at its lowest point. And lastly, the Renaissance era, the era of when a show starts, rising up in quality. So, let's start off the list, guys, with number 7. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Family Guy is at the number 7 spot. Wow. I'm gonna be very honest. It was at a point where Family Guy just ruled the world. And at one point, in my opinion, was even funnier than The Simpsons, in my opinion. And what makes this crazy is that, how the show really got bad in quality with each season as it went on. You could tell, the first 5 seasons were definitely, they were legitimately some of the funniest moments in Family Guy. And then we get up to season 6 and 11, and they're still good. Granted, there was there's still more bad episodes, but there was still a lot of funny and good ones in there. Then season 12 came, and I still say that's the worst season of Family Guy. We got a lot of bad episodes from that. Well, from that season. We got Peter trying to marry Chris just to get Carter's money, or Stewie getting herpes from Brian, or Brian just basically being very manipulative just to gain fame from his son starring in a Disney Channel sitcom. And the characters, my god, they even got worse. The only one who's still decent is Stewie. And that's not saying much, because he came from being an evil genius to more of a flamboyant scientist who, whether if he does good or bad. I don't know, it's just looking at this, just watching Family Guy nowadays, it's kind of sad, but the crazy thing is, Family Guy can really pull off some great episodes. Like the episode Brian and Stewie. That was a fantastic episode, a very fantastic episode. And it was them just talking and opening up to each other, and I wish we can get more episodes like these. Or hell, the Star Wars parodies were really great, and I mean, they were funny as shit. But it sucks that we have to get episodes like that, and we have to watch episodes with just Peter being a constant idiot. And I mean not the idiot how he was in the earlier seasons, just a brain dead idiot. Yeah, that's all I gotta say for Family Guy. It's just sad to watch. It's very sad to watch. And hell, even Seth MacFarlane wants this show gone. It shows that even the creator of your own show hates what it is now. At number 6, we have The Fairly Odd Parents. Just like Family Guy, Fairly Odd Parents was at one point was just awesome. Just awesome in general. And those early seasons still hold up to this day. They are some of the funniest things to come out of Nickelodeon. Oh man, how, just like Family Guy, how the mighty have fallen for this one as well. I'm just gonna be very honest about the later seasons. Poof gets way too much hate. I didn't think he was a terrible character. Granted, there was some of the episodes that were focused on him were not that good, but hell, they could have done worse. And then we get Sparky, which he was just annoying. Just very annoying. Annoying to the point where he was basically written out of the show for season 10. And speaking of season 10, oh man, that season was very infamous. We got introduced to Chloe Carmichael, which as a character, she's not so bad, but she didn't have to be a main character to up to the point where she had to get fairy godparents. It just didn't make sense. But just going back to like the early seasons of the Fairly OddParents, like those are some very funny moments. I love the dynamic between Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda from those early seasons. It's just like it rubs me the wrong way to see how the Fairly OddParents just like, you know, ended. It ended like so badly. Like there was many ways of the show to end. Like the Channel Chasers TV movie or the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour films. Or hell, like I could probably see like the live action Fairly OddParents movies working as like possible endings for the show, but nope. Season 10. I bet you were happy, weren't you, Butch? But yeah, like Fairly OddParents as a whole, it's one of those shows that like you gotta stay with caution for. Like granted, it's still a good show, but I just say be careful about the later seasons. So guys, number 5 is Arthur. So I'm not gonna be harsh on this one, seeing how Arthur, at the end of the day, it's an educational show. It's gonna be for little kids and little kids only. But yeah, a lot of people don't know this. Arthur is still currently running. It is the second longest cartoon in America, behind The Simpsons. So yeah, I'm still gonna talk about it, but I'm not gonna be as harsh as I am with the others coming soon. But yeah, Arthur is still a decent show, and I'd say it's like the in the middle of the show in this whole list. Like, it's a show that like, granted, you really can't like criticize that much, but there are still some like things that you can be like fond about Arthur. Like, some of the messages in the earlier episodes kind of really taught you something. Like in the episode where Arthur was basically just, you know, losing to DW throughout that whole episode, and it was a good lesson for him because like sometimes you can't win all the time. Or yeah, granted, there's some episodes like, you know, the infamous Arthur's Big Hit, which the lesson in that episode just still doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it. Like literally, DW was in his room messing with his stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense, man. But yeah, then there were some episodes like where like it talks about, you know, like how parents are, like divorced parents, like Buster, like his mom and dad are divorced, and I remember that whole episode, The Ballad of Buster Baxter. It was a nice episode where like Arthur's friends try to help him out, like through like his parents, you know, separating. I don't know, like episodes like that, I just get like a nice fuzzy feeling inside. But yeah, Arthur is still a decent show, and if you want to check out the later episodes, you can. But just, the animation, my god. Arthur is not good in Flash. That's the best way to put it. Same with the Fairly OddParents, like, why lower down the budget? Like, it's perfectly fine as it is. Oh boy, didn't I get controversial. So, Simpsons, in my opinion, it's like the perfect, and I mean the perfect definition of what an 8 out of 10 show is. I mean the perfect definition for it. Like, literally, you cannot tell, like, the eras I had to put it in. Oh, man. So, yeah. So, The Simpsons, let's talk about it. So, The Simpsons is, like, one of those shows where, like, it was at its prime, still freaking great. Like, for seasons 4 to 10 is like, that's when the show started to get good. That's when the show basically made an identity for itself. It's like that era where, like, I can just, like, rewatch those episodes over and over again. And then, like, from seasons 11 up to 20, like, where The Simpsons it was starting to go into HD, that was still, like, you know, it was a decent era. And, like, there were some funny-ass episodes to come out of there. The movie, like, came out of that whole era itself. And then going into, like, the later ones, like seasons 21 up to 31, which is the Bronze/Dark Age of the show. Yeah, it's something. Just looking at those episodes, it makes the show feel very outdated. and like with references to like like certain games that came out around that era, or like movies, or hell, like trends that came out of that era. And this era has gotten, in my opinion, so bad that like there's certain character changes. Like for example, like Hank Azaria stopped playing Apu because of some sensitive people saying how like The Simpsons is just like racist. You know? Hey, do you want to hear something? The Simpsons is full of stereotypes. The Simpsons like has stereotypes. Every character in the show are stereotypes. Like literally. Homer is basically the stereotype of a bumbling dad. Bart is he's a stereotype of like, you know, of a prankster kid. Like, you know, even Principal Skinner, he is a stereotype of a stickler. Like, The Simpsons will always and forever will be stereotypes. Doesn't make sense. But man, hell, even some of the voice acting for the show has not aged well. Like, Julie Kavner, like, I'm not saying her performance on Marge is terrible. It's still a great performance, but you could tell that her voice has like literally, it feels like her voice has just been battling through cigars and cigarettes. It's just so not good to listen to. Oh man. But yeah, well, seeing how it's now bought by Disney, The Simpsons is getting heavily promoted by Disney Plus. You can check out those episodes, and you know, The Simpsons can pull off good episodes even in its like dark age. So, Aqua Teen Force is at the number 3 spot, and this is one of my favorite, and I mean favorite cartoons of all time. And even by the eras, like even if I did categorize the show by eras, it's like some of these episodes can still like put a smile to my face and can make me laugh at any point. Whether if it's Shake with his rants, Meatwood with his childlike personality, or Frog with his straight narrow personality himself, or Carl with his sarcastic hot-headed personality. Like, these characters bounce off of each other so perfectly. And the first 4 seasons are some of the funniest things I've seen from Adult Swim, and from adult animation itself. Like, we get episodes about Meatwad going to the Marines, or the gang basically interacting with born-again Christian fruit, or even like them trying to experience the wonders of using a shrink ray. Like, it is just hilarious. Like, another favorite episode of mine from the show has to go to Global Grilling. It's literally Shake at his funniest. So he literally buys a grill from Chernobyl, and it's a radioactive grill to be at that. And it literally causes the Earth to melt down, basically causing the Earth to go into this huge apocalypse. And then turns out it was all a dream. Like, literally all a dream. It was fucking crazy. And the movie itself, the movie is something that can only be like, you know, for certain people who can understand like Adult Swim's humor. Or early Adult Swim humor. So, yeah, Aqua Teen Force is still something that can be held to this day. And I can't wait to watch it on HBO Max when it comes out. It's gonna be a treasure. At number 2, we got South Park. So, South Park, man. So, I have a very interesting history with the show. I watched a little bit of it when I was like at a very young age, back when I used to live in Dorchester. And then like moving to like Hyde Park years later, I started watching the show back in 2012 on Netflix when they still had it. And watching those episodes, they are very freaking funny. Like, they're legitimately some of the funniest things I've seen coming out of that year. And then I watched more of the show, even watched the movie, and yeah, it's really started to get like, you know, good. And I just gonna be honest with it. The first 4 seasons do not hold up. In my opinion, they do not hold up. And like, I'm not trying to say this like in a terrible way. Like, when the movie came out around season 3, and it showed that South Park can be like something good, like something honestly really freaking great. It could tell like nice like commentary on certain things that like shows at the time didn't. And I like how the movie itself is basically like a nice allegory of how parents see the show. But I'll save more about the movie later in some other video. But for the show itself, I'd say season 5 is when the show is at its prime. Like starting with season 5 up to season 10, like that was a funny era and a very funny era. Like we get to see like the show experiment a lot. Like season 6, we got like episodes with Butters and Tweak replacing the 4th best friend role since Kenny was practically gone from season 6. And then we get like up to season 10 where like we saw the departure of Chef. R.I.P. Isaac Hayes. And yeah, like it was like in my opinion the last good season. I mean great season from the show. And then like the later seasons, like up to season 20, from season 19 to 23, it was not. It started to delve into like Like South Park is still funny from those seasons, but it just started to not get, in my opinion, like really good as it was before. Like season 19 with its like with its arc, and don't get me started with season 20 how just it was something was not right about that season. And it was weird because like it was being promoted as like the big, magnum opus of the show. I don't know, it just didn't make sense. And then season 21, it was there. I'd say the best season as of now lately is season 22. It was a really good season. It didn't have to do with a lot of story arcs. It was just being itself, and I think it did that perfectly fine. We got the return of many characters. We got the return of Mr. Hanky, got the return of Mr. Satan, as well as hell, we got Towley. Towley's back. It was something to be a hold of. But yeah, as of now, South Park is currently going to get renewed up to season 26, which is why I have it as that. So yeah, South Park is something. It is something, alright. Well, you guessed it. It's SpongeBob. SpongeBob is number 1. I mean, to be honest, I did make it a tad bit obvious, but come on, SpongeBob is one of my favorite cartoons of all time, like top 2 next to Tom and Jerry. So yeah, SpongeBob is like, this is the show that people would go to like as a cartoon, for example, that has declining quality. Like, this is the show that really everybody goes to, and I don't blame them. Like, the first 3 seasons are some of the best stuff from SpongeBob. And then we got, seasons 4 to 5, which, those are still good episodes, and like, I'm gonna be very honest, I think the Silver Age has better specials than the first 3 seasons combined, in my opinion. And then there's 6 through 8, which, of course, that's the Dark Age, and hands down, that era has some of the worst episodes of SpongeBob in just in general. And then seasons 9 to 12, which is the Renaissance era, which, as I dub, since this is the era that everybody says that SpongeBob is back to where it was. And yeah, I can totally agree with that. Granted, I don't think SpongeBob is back to the way it was fully, but it's still some of the later episodes are still kind of good and they're still funny. And I'm gonna be honest about some of the new episodes. Some of the animation, the animation as a whole, I'm a bit mixed on. And granted, it's nice to see that the characters are all alive and just animated, but I would say they're a tad bit too animated, in my opinion. Literally, in my opinion, they're a tad bit too animated. Something about about the previous seasons, about its art style, it worked in its favor. The expressions worked at a T minimum for the comedy, and seeing how it's used for all the time in the later episodes, it just kind of wears out its welcome. And yeah, that's pretty much that I gotta say about SpongeBob. I talked about it a lot on this channel, and it's nice to talk about it again. And I still say it's number 1 out of the 7 longest cartoons in US, as the best one. So guys, yeah, so this is the end of the video. And before I end it off, I just want to say that it's sort of great to be back. It's great to be back talking about cartoons, cuz I missed it. I don't know, it's just like being gone from YouTube for so long, just barely uploading. I don't know, it felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I was running out of ideas. And even if I did have ideas, I just really didn't have the motivation for it. So, I'm glad I'm doing this again. So guys, I will be putting links in the description to follow if you guys want to follow me on all my social medias. And yeah, and also link in description to check out Young Honcho Z's music. He makes some great rap, and check out his verified video. I'm putting that in the link in the description below. But as of now, subscribe, click that notification button, and yeah, this is the All Might. Oh, I'm not going by that anymore. This is OJ Diesel signing out.